Howdy, howdy, folks. Welcome back to the Bar Talk Podcast. Yes, this is the Bar Talk Podcast on AMR or wherever you get your podcasts. Hope you've been enjoying that, but I hope you're super excited because my guest this week is the absolute darling of indie pop in Adelaide. She's putting out awesome music, and her EP, her eponymous debut EP, just dropped the other week. I'm so keen to be chatting to her right now. So please welcome to the show, Stellie.
Hello, thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. I mean, with the music that you're putting out, we just had to have you because I tell you what, I'm really floored by what you've done with your EP. So first of all, congratulations.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
You must be so proud of it because you've been working on it for quite a while.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I started some of these tracks 2 or 3 years ago, so it's nice to finally have them out in the world for sure.
It tends to be a very similar thing with a lot of artists, and there's either a lot of relief or there's a lot of reflection when their releases come out. So how do you feel now listening back to something that the whole world can hear?
Definitely relief. I'm very excited for everyone to hear them. Like I said, they took a while to get out in the world, so having them out is definitely a big sigh of relief. But I'm keen to move on to the next phase as well. So there is a bit of reflection on how I can improve and how I can develop. So a bit of both.
I guess on a scale of 1 to 10, and I mean, you can lie here, that's fine. You can give me a 10 if you want to please the fans. That's perfectly okay. No, but in all seriousness, on a scale of 1 to 10, how satisfied are you with the final product?
Oh, definitely a 10. I'd be lying if I didn't say a 10.
No, wink, wink. You don't have to tell the truth. You know, this is all it's all public image, Stellie. It's okay. Yeah. No, but yeah, I wouldn't.
I wouldn't put it out if I wasn't 10 out of 10 happy with it. So.
You're like the alpha. You're like the stereotypical alpha male that goes in to pick up at the bar. You're like, yeah, I'm a 10. Yeah, I'm a 10. Totally. Ladies, come at me. Yeah,
absolutely. I think you have to have that attitude in this industry, otherwise you're not in the right industry.
So, did you have to sort of teach yourself that? Because when you started, were you much shyer and a bit more humble?
Yeah, absolutely. I was. I found it hard to do writing sessions at the very start. It's very hard to open up to complete strangers. So it did take a while to get used to that, but now I think I've developed and I kind of know I stand my ground more on a lot of things, and it's definitely a learning curve being in this industry.
Because you just mentioned there that you've learned how to stand your ground. So does that mean that you find criticism, it can take a while to, even if it's positive criticism, do you find it takes a while to accept criticism and sort of know where to either it's something you can sort of take into account or just to ignore?
No, look, everything comes with a grain of salt. I think you should take on the criticism that you think will be helpful to you, and then some of it is kind of like, it's up to you, as in you take in the criticism that you think will help you, and some of it you do have to leave behind because that also helps you, if that makes sense.
It's sort of knowing when to pick the right advice.
You don't always have to agree with people's opinions, I don't think. So
no, this isn't.
Kind of take it and leave it in some instances.
Yeah, that's right. We're allowed to have opinions here. I know the internet sometimes says otherwise, but you can think what you want. Just a reminder to everyone out there. So just when you hear me sprouting bullshit half the time, you can ignore it. That's perfectly okay. We'll talk about the EP in a bit more depth soon, but while we're sort of on the topic, I want to discuss it a bit further about where you started as an artist, because you mentioned you were a lot shyer when you did start. But what got you into starting to write songs, though? There had to be was there some sort of trigger that got you into it?
Not really. I think I always knew that I wanted to be a musician from day dot. I'm not good at anything else.
Just came out of the womb with a guitar in a hand. Yeah, absolutely.
Not quite. Maybe a piano, but that'd be hard to come out in the womb.
No, one of them melodicas. The ones where you blow the Japanese instrument.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Oh my God. Have you played a melodica before?
No, I have not.
Oh my God.
I bet it would be fun.
Like you do a 3-line note and then you're like out of breath already. Like you've got to be a sax player. Crazy. Like you've got to have the lung capacity to do it.
Yeah, for sure. But no, I think I just needed help feeling comfortable about sharing my stories. But once you get over that hurdle, it's kind of becomes second nature, I guess.
So when you started, were you a very private individual in terms of your songwriting? Was it for
Definitely.
So for a while,
I didn't show anyone my stuff. Yeah, I hated showing people my music at the very beginning.
Yeah.
I didn't even show my family.
What was the family? But it's always the family. They're always the harshest critics, aren't they?
No, they're not. My family love everything I do, which is great. But sometimes it's like I show them a song that I absolutely hate, and they're like, "Oh, I love this." So that's almost harder.
I was hoping for a grilling here. You're all praise. That's great.
Yeah, it's all praise in the Stellie household for sure.
It's a happy ending all around. I love it.
It
is. No, and obviously big respect to the family. That's great. You've got such a supportive crew behind you.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't have done it without them. So I'm very lucky.
Who are you? Was there any particular mentors that got you through that first stage? Because there's at some point when you're starting out with anything, you've always got to look up to someone who's more experienced or someone that you're comfortable around. Were there people around you that sort of said, no, it's okay to open up. It's okay to show these songs to the world?
I think I did do it mainly myself, I guess. I kind of just got over it myself. But my manager was with me quite early on, so she helped me with a lot of that stuff.
Nice.
For sure. So, yeah, I guess my manager, Ash, obviously is a big mentor for me still now and helps me get over those hurdles. So very lucky to have her on my team for sure.
Yeah, brilliant. Great stuff, Ash. That's you're doing well.
Yeah.
And thanks, of course, we'll mention it too. I usually mention it later on, but thank you, of course, Title Track for being awesome and help being just great at getting the music out there too.
Absolutely.
When you did start out, were you doing like open mics and that sort of thing, or did you start doing full-on gigs first?
No, before I was Stellie, my first gig as Stellie was supporting Lime Cordiale at Lion Arts Factory, so I got quite lucky with my first gig.
What a debut.
Yeah, it was a crazy debut. 3 sold-out shows, never played a gig in my life. It was crazy. But before then, I was just gigging at pubs, really, but not under the name Stellie, just as myself. But, yeah, I was doing that since I left school, really, so a couple of years, and then eventually I moved on to the big stage.
Were you always musical growing up though, or was it really after school that it triggered that?
No, not at all. Not at all. I went to a special music school. I was surrounded by music every day.
Wow.
I loved it. Yeah.
Wow. And I'm guessing you had some really good music teachers that sort of, I guess.
Absolutely. Very talented music teachers, which I was very lucky to have in my corner for sure.
Was there like a big school band at this school that you played in? Or?
There were many school bands. there were many school bands and school choirs at my school.
It was funny because this high school I went to, the one I chose, because there was really only 2 or 3 choices that I could have picked when I was going to high school, growing up in the country. Yeah. And one of the reasons why I picked the school I went to was because it had a bit of a better music program than I thought. Perfect. That the high school that was closer to me. Turned out that was wrong because pretty much the music program pretty much collapsed about 2 years into it. So there was a school band when I was in year 8, and I played rhythm guitar in a like a concert band, which is the weirdest thing.
Yeah, concert bands are interesting.
It's like, now play F chord. Okay, move that up to G, and you're just playing bar chords all day. It's so weird. And reading music, which I know a lot of guitarists sort of like cringe at. Mm-hmm. And I've lost I've forgotten how to read music.
That's sad.
No, that's all right. I don't. Who needs music? Notations for noobs.
Fair enough.
What instruments did you play at school? Was it mainly piano?
I played piano and I also played clarinet, but I don't tell that to many people.
You're telling me you missed out on a clarinet solo in the EP.
I know. Maybe the next one, but
I'm specifically putting that request down in writing. I want this clarinet solo on Stellie EP2.
I haven't picked up a clarinet for at least 6 or 7 years, so I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, you better start. Come on, you got 2 years to the next EP. Come on. Come on. I set that challenge for you specifically.
Absolutely not. I declined the challenge already.
It just furiously tries to find like a proper MIDI clarinet. It's like, fuck a real clarinet. You can synthesize everything these days.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
So obviously you play all the piano on the EP, but obviously all the guitar and that as well is you.
No,
No?
not at all.
Oh, okay.
I don't play the guitar.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Please tell. So what's your band, or did you go with the studio musicians, or do you have a band playing?
So I have a band for my live set. So I've got my guitarist Max and I've got my drummer Jared. But for the EP, for all the recordings, they were done in Melbourne. Most of them were done with Alex Markwell from the Delta Rig. So he laid down all the guitar that you hear in my EP. I do not touch the guitar. It's not my instrument at all. I wouldn't know how to play one chord on it. Yeah. So definitely not my doing.
That's interesting because a lot of the songs are very guitar driven.
I love a guitar. I just don't love playing it.
Because you mentioned, is it one of the songs about how you love how they play the guitar? So it's like that makes a bit more sense because it's like, I know some guitarists that are just, that do appreciate the guitarist. That is a thing. And it's like I've heard, I don't know if you've ever watched Penn and Teller before, the magicians from Vegas.
Oh yeah, I reckon my dad's shown me a couple of videos.
It's very boomer entertainment, guys. Just saying. No, but Penn and Teller are great, but they do mention when in a lot of interviews they say, what do you do in your free time? And they go, well, what do you think? We watch other magicians. Like, it's like guitarists. Yeah. Guitarists watch each other. It's like any other art form. But you do get some wankers that say I'm the best and ignore everyone else. Names can't come to mind, but yeah, I don't think I know many guitarists that sort of, talk about how they like other guitarists playing, because it's just like, it's all about the self-promotion,
Yes. All the guitarists that I've worked with have been really lovely. I wouldn't be able to tell anyone in that category.
Again, the bullshit meter should be flashing above my head right now.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I don't. No. And I noticed, so there's a lot of really cool elements of both acoustic and electric guitar mixed intertwined. Yes. And I can't tell, because I'm trying to think of, there's a lot of good bass work too on the EP. So I should mention that as well. So who did the bass work? That's
also Alex Markwell. He can take credit for that one too.
Very talented man.
Absolutely. All the drumming you hear in there as well is also him.
So did he, because I noticed you co-wrote a lot of the songs, and I see one or two of them Alex has co-written with you. So did he, what's the right word? I'm trying to think. Arrange. That's the word I'm thinking of. I've got to remember my terms correctly. So forgive me, guys. It's a Sunday as of recording, so please be gentle. Did he arrange a lot of the melodies and while he was playing on guitar, or did you have to dictate to him?
Absolutely. It was a bit of both. I mean, like I said, I'm not a guitar player, so I kind of said the feeling that I want to emulate, and he demonstrated and created that feeling through a melody.
There's nothing worse than, I'm fortunate enough to play both piano and guitar, but there's nothing worse than having to play something that a guitarist has written for keyboard. Yeah. Because do this run, and it's like just you pretty much strumming up and down with a bar chord. But then on piano it'll be like 4 octaves up and down the board. It's like, it's not the same.
Exactly. So I can't really dictate what to play on the guitar at all because I have no experience. So I left that up to him, and I just said I want it to sound dreamy and nostalgic, and he made it happen.
I have to ask, on Californian Lullaby, because it sounds sort of chuggy. It's like that chuggy sort of rhythm section going on the back. Like, is that actually bass, or is that just like bar chords in the back, like power chords in the background, just like really muted?
Where are we talking? Sorry, Californian Lullaby?
No, sorry, I got the songs wrong.
Oh, no, you're right. I was going to say, I don't remember that in that song.
No, I know. I was like, wrong song. Again, idiot me. I'd have killed for you, because there's that chuggy sort of thing going on in the background. Is that bass or is that guitar?
Yeah, it is. It might even be a mixture of. It might even be a mixture of the two.
It's because I noticed that the mixing is, everything's sort of nothing is too much at the forefront in terms of the instrumentation. Like the piano fits in nicely in its own niche. And again, you've got really good textures going on in the background with electric and acoustic guitar and the bass as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, because Alex produced all the songs, didn't he?
He produced a majority of them. Some of them were co-produced. And the Backs Against the Wall is the only one that he didn't touch. Oh,
yes. I see. That one was produced by Xavier Dunn. Yeah. What was it? Because I see there's a few, because it's not just all your songs. You have co-written a lot of them. So were any of them, like what proportion of the songs were, entirely done before you went to the studio, as in composed by yourself? And were there others that were just, I don't really have anything, or here's a concept, let's work on that?
Look, I think co-writing is the best thing ever. I would never bash anyone for having co-writes on their songs. Just bouncing off ideas, it's just so much better. Like I would never say to someone that I'm the best writer in the world. So having other people help with that is definitely the way to go.
Yeah.
The way it worked is I wrote Bedroom Floor myself. That was the only one I took into a session, having just a demo, like a very basic demo. Every other track on there, except for Backs Against the Wall as well, was basically like I'd written it with someone else. We had done a demo, and then I'd taken it back to Alex, and we finessed it a couple of months later. So it was all kind of done in bits and pieces.
And with the recording process, was it all done in one go, or did you have to come back and take several trips to Melbourne to do it?
I took several trips to Melbourne. We kind of finished the majority of it in a week. And then I came back. Yeah, and then efficient. I came back maybe again after that to finish off and finalise some other things. But yeah, it was pretty quick process. I mean, when you have someone that shares the same vision as you, like Alex did, he kind of just knew what I wanted and, made it happen basically.
Cool. Was it a case of knowing from the start that Alex would be the best fit as the main producer and collaborator?
Not at all. No, I had no idea. I only really started working when my manager set up a co-writing session with me, with him. And the first day we met, we wrote colours.
Okay.
And the first day, it was such a fun session, but I didn't really like the song to begin with, to be honest. So I kind of came home and I was like, I don't know about this. And then I went back and we finished, and my manager was like, nah, this track's amazing. You need to go and finish it off. So I went back to Melbourne, finished off the track, and then I fell in love with it, and I absolutely loved working with Alex. And then I kind of turned around to my manager and was like, I think this is the guy that needs to finish my EP.
Was that the one you mentioned before about how, you showed songs to your family and then they go, no, this is actually really good. So was this one of those songs?
No, I don't even think my family had heard it at that point. Yeah. It's still amazing. It was just very different from what I was used to in terms of a writing. I mean, the song did sound completely different to what it sounds like now.
Okay.
But it was very experimental compared to what I had done. Yeah. And I think in the end that's what I needed. So, and I just didn't realize it yet. But
so it sounds like then that you really didn't know where it was going to end up, or the vision that you did have when you started the project ended up being a totally different, going in a totally different direction to what you expected. And that's a common thing I hear with a lot of musicians. They do go into the studio expecting one thing and coming out with something else. So did you find that was your experience?
A little bit of yes and no. I mean, I know my sound, and I know I wanted the EP to really emulate and make clear what my sound is, and I think it does that. And I was really clear in how I wanted that to be portrayed quite early on. Sometimes it's hard to convey that message to people, but no, I think it was quite easy. I mean, I definitely tested a few boundaries with some of the tracks on there, but overall I think they all came out as planned. They just might have taken a roundabout way of how to get there.
It's not the destination, it's the journey.
Exactly.
It's some philosophized bullshit. That's okay. I have a friend that majored in philosophy, so I take pointers from him occasionally. Yeah.
Fair enough. I think we all should.
Let's chat about the first track, which is not a single. It hasn't come out as a single yet. Bedroom Floor.
No.
Tell us, and it's just come out as part of the EP. Tell us a bit about it. I guess you mentioned this was the one that you wrote by yourself. What was going on in your mind when you were, writing down the lyrics and the music?
Oh, that was written close to 2 years ago, I think, in my bedroom. That was one of the tracks that kind of started off the EP. So I wrote that in my bedroom, not on the floor, on my piano.
Put a piano on the floor. Come on, lay it down on the floor. Get a harness, hang from the roof, and play it that way.
It would have been, maybe it would have come out better if it did that. I don't know.
Just add a bit of extra sustain if the strings are laying down. No.
Yeah, exactly. That track came about, I mean, I was just a really angsty, heartbroken teenager. I guess that's really the basis of that track. Yeah.
It's always the way.
Absolutely.
Everybody has that phase. It's like
Totally.
17, 16. It's just like,
Yes.
whatever, I don't know, whatever age you do. I don't know, some people are late developers. You could be 43 when that happens. Who knows?
Exactly right.
Age is just a number, as they say.
Totally.
But you can definitely see that come out. And what I've appreciated when I've been listening to the whole album is there's sort of, you focus on very specific details in your lyrics. So you mentioned about the dress being on the bedroom floor, and it sort of conjures up a very specific image, a very specific tone. Like there is a lot of conflict going on in that song, which I really like. So it's I mean, all the tracks are standout, but it's one that we haven't touched on yet on the show, and I'm definitely keen to play it. So
thank you.
Let's do it, and then we'll come back, and I'm happy to go into a bit more detail about the themes and that behind the EP as well. So don't go anywhere, folks. Here is Bedroom 4, the first track off Stellie's eponymous debut. We'll be back soon on Bar Talk. Don't go anywhere. Well, how about that, folks? How about that? That was the first track off Stellie's EP, titled, would you believe it, Stellie, called Bedroom Floor, and I hope that floored you all, because it certainly did for me. I've got Stellie on the line with me right now, chatting all things EP and food and bullshit. I guess that's pretty much it. Everything's bullshit to a certain extent.
Pretty much.
Yeah. No, that great track. I really like it. You're right when you said you were going for not the experimental elements, but you're experimenting a bit. There's a few cool tones in the background there, especially towards the end with the instrumentation there. So,
I love that. It's my favorite bit.
Yeah. Do you, when you're listening to music, do you tend to focus more on the lyrics, or this is like other people's music, more on the lyrics or the actual instrumental parts?
Definitely the lyrics all the way. I'm very much a lyric gal.
Okay.
I only listen to the lyrics.
Yeah. So have you always been big on the singer-songwriters that are more focused on the words rather than these grandiose musical statements?
I mean, I still do love a musical statement, but I just feel like if you've got good lyrics, you've kind of won the battle.
Yeah, fair enough. Do you prefer songwriters that cloak their lyrics, I guess, in more cryptic layerings, or do you
absolutely. Absolutely. All about the cryptic lyrics.
Okay. So really, have you tried to emulate that then in your writing style, or do you find...
I definitely do. I mean, I'm probably not as cryptic as some, but I like to leave it up to the imagination in some ways. I mean, it's just always a bit more fun and a bit more creative, I think, than just telling it straight down the line. Fair enough.
And so do you tend to find that you'll describe something when you're writing it down and it'll mean something else? Or like, you talk about something like, I know you mentioned things like in the movie. Well, I know you've mentioned before that your songs have a very Hollywood feel. So I guess that's where I'm getting confused, but we'll talk about that in a sec. But in your music, you'll write something about the car. The car was shiny white or whatever. His gait was astonishing. I don't know. You pull out some bullshit out of your brain. I don't know.
Yeah.
And is it you go, okay, so I'm actually talking about the car, or do you use the car or whatever you're describing as a vessel for describing something else? I know that's a weird question. And
no, I get where you're going. Probably a bit of both, to be honest.
Yeah. So do you tend to find you might swap out words and go, I'm actually talking about this, but really I'll swap it with this verb so that it confuses everyone. And
totally. I mean, I'm not out there to confuse people as such, but you want to make them think. Yeah,
true. It's like, you want to make the most out of what you're getting, when you buy a Stellie record, it's not just all, don't judge the book by its cover, yada, yada.
Exactly. Yeah, totally. Exactly right.
Because it is, and you have gone for that Hollywood, very 70s Hollywood feel. And I know you've probably had that described to you before, but was that an intention when you went in to record the EP?
I also have this question a lot as well. No, absolutely not. I mean, like I said, I knew the sound that I wanted, but I didn't know that it was going to be described as a 70s Hollywood theme, but I kind of love that.
Who pointed that out to you first?
Oh, no, I don't know. I mean, the image that you see of me and like all my photos and stuff, that's all very much me.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't fabricate those things. I didn't have to come up with it. I didn't have to sit down with my manager and be like, okay, we need to come up with an image. That was very much very organic and natural, which is the way that I think it should be. But I think I was sitting down at a meeting with someone and they were like, oh, this is all very 70s. And they said that. And I was like, you know what, that's very funny you say that, because I didn't really mean for it to be like that. But now that I look at it, it definitely is.
Because I don't know why, but all I could think of, and I couldn't, it was, I don't know why, I don't know whether somebody's picked up this before, but the song, How Do We Look So Good, the riff sounds very Pink Floydish. I don't know why. Has anybody pointed that out to you?
No, they haven't, but I'll take that for sure.
Like, if the song was about 4 times longer and the instrumental went for like half the song, it could pass off as a Pink Floyd B-side from like Dark Side of the Moon era.
Absolutely.
Like, that's what I got. I don't know why. It's a similar riff, and it's like the guitar tone was very similar to what's his name from Pink Floyd. People are going to crucify for this. What is that? David Gilmour or whatever.
Oh, look, I don't know either. I can't help you with that one. That's not my era.
I always forget who's in Pink Floyd, and I'm going to get absolutely roasted for this. My other co-host, who is a massive Floyd fanatic, he's going to listen back to this and go, "You idiot!" No, but it was a very, I think, David Gilmour-esque sort of riff going on there. So cool.
Yeah,
kind of cool.
I'll definitely take that.
So I get that, but it's interesting to see that you don't. Like, you've gone for that own style that, you know, even though you've got the management and you've had that management behind you for years, you're very much the master of your own destiny in terms of what you want the public to perceive you as.
Totally. I think that's the only way to do it. I mean, if someone else is coming up with your image, it's not really your image, is it?
True. That's true. And I mean, this is sort of a thing that's plagued a lot of musicians and high-profile musicians in the past, especially in the earlier decades of pop music. You know, it was very much the push with the major labels to sort of, they will choose what you look like. Probably. I'm trying to think of a really famous example, thing like Beach Boys, like what it is. Brian Wilson never wanted to be the surf pop guy. He always wanted to write interesting music, and he only really got that after he'd made a bunch of money on their other albums, and labels said, right, do whatever you want, and came out with Pet Sounds. So that's just an example from history, but it's good to see that you are choosing your own image. Do you reckon you'll be one of those people that will hop between styles each release, or do you like the idea of having a very consistent discography throughout?
A bit of both. I mean, in terms of like looks and kind of that overall style, I think that'll stay, because I don't think my style is going to change much. I mean, maybe it will. I mean, I don't know.
That's
but
it.
in terms of music,
the electro country album's coming.
Yeah.
Move over, Cotton Eye Joe.
Exactly right. But in terms of music, I've never been one to be kind of afraid of, or especially now, I'm not afraid to kind of muck around with different styles of music. I mean, obviously keeping it within boundaries, but I don't know. I'd love to explore more with like any type of genre, but just make it Stellie. Yeah.
What would you reckon would be the most surprising genre for you to come out with an album for? Like,
definitely like heavy metal or something like that. That would never happen.
Do you reckon you would partner up with a metal band for like a feature spot? No
no way. No, I would not.
Just wait till the ideas run out, then you'll be just running. It's like, hey guys, come on. Hey Deftones, come on. I've got this song idea, I reckon you'll really like it. That's, it's always good to dream though. So I mean, you can't really predict what you're going to do in the future, can you?
No, definitely not. So I can say no now, but it might actually happen, which I highly doubt. But
never say never, as a wise philosopher once said. Justin Bieber. Was that Justin Bieber? Never say never.
Justin Bieber,
yeah. Were you a Bieber believer back in the day?
No, I wasn't. I never really went through that phase as a kid where I was obsessed with a band. I think I never went through the One Direction phase or the Justin Bieber phase. I think the closest I got was the 1975. I was a big 1975 fan. Yeah. But even that wasn't really taken to the extreme. Like maybe maybe they were my wallpaper at one stage on my phone, but nothing further than that.
What's the lead singer's name from the 1975?
That's the one.
Were you one of those ones that fawned over Matt? Was he your heartthrob as a teenager?
I won't deny that.
So are we gonna get the 80s rip off next? If you're is that what we're gonna see next coming out?
No, I don't think so. It would be fun.
80s is back. Come on.
80s is definitely back.
I want us to see some cheesy synths. I'm making a list. What I want on the next Stellie album: clarinet solo, guitar solo,
yeah,
808s, all in the one record. No,
absolutely.
Let's talk about the themes behind the. I've mentioned this like 3 times. Let's talk about the themes. Themes.
Oh,
you know, it's all about context, as they say in English class. A lot of the songs very autobiographical in terms of when you were writing them, or did you find that you were getting inspiration from what other people were experiencing at the time?
This is always a tricky question for me. I mean, the way I kind of think about it is my songs are born from my own experiences, but I like to exaggerate them, if that makes sense.
You're a drama queen.
I'm definitely a drama queen when it comes to writing, not in other terms.
Making the mountain out of the molehill. That's the secret to songwriting. You don't ever.
Totally, I think it is.
Something too grounded in reality. That's boring. Nobody wants to hear what you had for breakfast. Everybody wants to hear about your heartthrob. So what you're saying is the album is about that fantasy about you and Matt Healy. Let's
no way. No.
She's not going to put it on record.
No.
That's all right. You can tell me everything after the interview. That's okay. Put it in an expose later.
Oh no.
No, that's all right. That's fine. Because a lot of the songs are very much in the vein of that unrequited love theme, or that sort of not. Almost breakup thing. So very classic songwriting staples.
Absolutely.
And can never get boring if you do something interesting with it, which I certainly think your EP does.
Thank you.
But do you tend to find that you always gravitate towards that sort of theme when you're writing, or do you find that like every 1 in 10 songs you just happen to write this happy pop banger?
What was the question?
So do you tend to always stick within the, I'm fawning over someone, oh my God, I want to get with Matt Healy. I want to. No, there's always a heartbreak sort of thing going on, like, or some of them like happy songs.
Happy songs, I think, are harder to write. I don't know. I just love the kind of heartbreak element to, like, I'm not, cutting myself short and sticking to that all the time. But whenever I've tried to venture out, it hasn't always gone to plan.
Yeah.
So I have written those happy pop songs, but I don't think anyone will ever hear them except for me.
So there's still a little bit of that anticipation. What's the word? Intrepidation. I think that's the right word, about some of your own things. So it sounds like you've still got a few hurdles in terms to go and just completely providing your entire experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you hope that you'll be able to write a happy album or a happy release one day that you'd be happy to let out into the world?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, at the moment, I love, the whole mood. I'm very happy at the moment. I'm in a happy relationship, so I've got really nothing to be sad about. But
congratulations.
Thank you. I just find it more interesting.
Yeah. It's like if everything was happy, the world would be a boring place, wouldn't it?
Yeah, totally. Totally.
Got to have the heartbreak.
Absolutely.
Let's, before we go on to play another song, I just want to briefly touch on your music videos.
Yeah.
Because you have, as I said, really embraced the Hollywood thing. One of them was like, I think, one of the videos I see you're trying to make Adelaide look like LA. It's like, come on, no, everybody sees what you're trying to do. I know you can't fly to LA at the moment, but would you?
I don't know. I think there's a bit of charm in Adelaide. I reckon it does kind of look like LA.
In the right light, with the right editing. But you can make anything look good with editing. There's a famous example of in a movie like where the director basically just said, look hungry. And it's actually like a scene where this guy's looking down to like a murdered battle scene or whatever.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And it's like, you can just, it's all in the editing. Like the actor wasn't thinking about these terrible things that are happening. He's just looking hungry, and forlorn. Yeah. So it is, editing's a very underrated art form, guys. Just saying. Makes me sound like a better speaker than I actually am. Come on. No, so I'm guessing the music videos, sort of the ideas for them have come after the music, because how you mentioned before, after meetings and such, you said you decided, right, this sounds 70s, we're going to go with the 70s thing. And you really have thrown all in for the visuals and the the music videos too, haven't you?
Well, I think you got to go full throttle with this sort of stuff. That music video wasn't even meant to be a music video; it was meant to be a lyric video.
Oh, okay.
That turned into a music video.
And this, which one are you talking about?
I'd Have Killed For You, I believe.
Yes.
Oh, that's the only one I've got, to be honest, at the moment.
No, I'm thinking. Yeah, no, I don't know why I didn't forget. I don't know why I forgot that you didn't have a video for Californian Lullaby, and
No, that's all good. I wish I had a video for Californian Lullaby.
It's the takes notes furiously, as I would say. Yeah, and I guess out of all of them, have there been any particular song on the EP which has really stood out and surprised you in terms of feedback people have been giving you?
It's a tricky one. I mean, a lot of people seem to be liking, a lot of people that I've had interviews with have seemed to like Backs Against the Wall, which is quite surprising because that track almost didn't make the EP to begin with. So I'm glad it's on there now. But people seem to like Colours as well. They gravitate towards that. But Californian Lullaby was quite a standout too. I didn't think that would get as much love as it did, not because I don't think it's an amazing track, but more because it's a slow ballad, and usually people always go, you have to release the fast ones. But yeah, Californian was a big surprise that people kind of gravitated towards that.
So you can thank Adele for everyone liking slow songs.
Totally. Absolutely. I love slow songs. I always wanted to release my slow ones first, so I stand my ground. Fair
enough. Let's Before we play the song, let's talk about the next song we are going to play, which will be Colours, the aforementioned second track off the album, which is your latest single. Is that right?
It is, yes. It was released as a single with the EP.
Yeah, please do tell us a bit about it and how it came about, I guess, in the studio.
Yeah, well, Colours was an interesting one. Like I said, it was the first track that I wrote with Alex Markwell, who ended up finishing off the majority of the EP. I was in Melbourne. It was a nighttime session, so it was the first kind of session that I had at night, which I didn't have much experience with. Not that it makes a difference, but it kind of does in a way. I kind of said to Alex that day, I didn't really care about the lyrics. I don't care if the lyrics don't make sense. I just want it to be the overall feeling. So yeah, that was pretty much how it began. It began with some synths, and then it grew from there.
Nice. With that, obviously, we're going to play it in a sec, but please tell us what is next on the cards for you. What do you want to do next in the coming year?
Oh, I mean,
I'd
love to play some live shows. That'd be great.
Because you did have a launch recently it, didn't you?
I did have a launch last Friday at the Line Arts Factory. It was my first ever headline show, and it was a sellout, so that was very exciting.
Nice. What was the capacity, by the way? Because I know
the capacity was 100, so it was half of what we expected, but I'll still take it.
That's good.
I'll still call it a sellout.
No, hey, look, 10 people, a 10-person venue is a sell. If it's a sellout, it's a sellout.
It's a sellout. Exactly.
Sounds better. No, that's good though for a first headline. That's really cool.
Yeah, thank you. I was very excited. I played my first ever show at Line Arts Factory, so I always wanted to do my headline there, so I'm glad I could actually do that.
Do you play piano live when you're singing?
No, I don't. Okay. I don't like to be behind an instrument when I'm playing. I'm very particular about that. I kind of just like to walk around and
do you do the
have fun.
How do you position your hands? Do you do the Joe Cocker thing, or do you opera, like what I call the? I'm trying. If you see what I'm doing now, it's like you get your arms like a swan's head, and just go up like
really.
that.
I think my arms just do whatever they want to do. I don't.
Or do you do the Robert Plant where you just like absolutely grip the shit out of the mic?
Yeah, probably.
Have you never watched yourself back in video or something?
Yeah. I don't think I want to now.
Oh no, I'll put you off. I'm sorry.
No, you're all right.
Oh my God. Well, let's leave that for a sec. No, Hopefully we can see you live when you come down to Melbourne. It'd be great to.
Yeah, I would love to. I mean, I had plans to. I would have been there probably around about now, I think, doing shows. I had them booked, but maybe next year.
It's always a next year. It's all good.
Yeah.
Well, congrats again on everything. The EP is absolutely phenomenal. Please go and check it out, guys, and listen to it in full. It really works. All 6 songs really work one after the other, so you do have to listen to it in order to really appreciate it, I think. So do yourselves a favour, guys, and give it a spin. Speaking of giving it a spin, where can people find it? buy it, download it, whatever?
Oh, anywhere. Anywhere you listen to music, you can find it.
Oh, I was so anywhere. So I pop down to my Baker's Delight, grab a croissant, grab a loaf of bread, grab Stellie's EP.
If you ask them to play it, I'm sure they would.
Remember when Ed Sheeran came out with one of his albums, he specifically mentioned in it, it's like, hey guys, a Kmart's selling my album. Make sure you go, the supermarket's selling my album. Make sure you grab it with your eggs and your milk. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, Eddie. No one buys CDs anymore. Says as I look suspiciously over at my cabinet where all three Ed Sheeran albums are just smiling back at me in CD form. No, congrats again. Is it in? Have you got physical copies? EP?
I don't. Not yet. No.
Do you reckon you'll do vinyl?
Oh, I hope so. At some point, absolutely, I will.
Yeah. Do you have vinyl at home, or do you have CDs?
Yes, I do. I have vinyl. Yeah, I've started a little collection.
Oh, you've started a collection. Have you got any of your? Have you had any hand-me-downs from mum and dad yet?
Oh, they got rid of theirs. I was so upset.
Oh.
They sold them all before I came along.
Oh, so did they do the thing where they just nobody's ever going to listen to vinyl again with this fandangled CD digital business? Let's just get rid of it.
Every time we go to a record store and I pick one up that I really like, they're like, "Oh, we had that," and I was like, "Well, you don't anymore."
My mum's. I don't have a vinyl collection. I've always gone with CDs, but my mum's always kept hers, and she's got the full Beatles discography box set.
That would be amazing. How crazy.
It's sitting in the cupboard gathering dusts, but it's going to be mine apparently one day.
Good. That's all that matters.
Apparently it's specifically in the will with my name on it. Daniel likes that music thing. We'll give him the Beatles. No, cool. But yeah, go and check it out. Obviously you've got your Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter and all that.
Yes, yep, it's all there.
Yep. And website, have you got a website too?
I do have a website. It's just just Stellie.com, I believe.
Stellie.com. It says, I was going to think of a pun, but I can't think of one. It's a stellar website, I'm sure. How's that?
I've heard that one before, I tell you what.
Damn it. Anyway, thank you so much. I think we got off track way more than I was expecting, but that's the best. That's all good. It's the best way. With apologies to Matt Healy, of course. If I say his name enough and run backwards 3 times while playing a guitar, I think he'll show up in my living room.
Tell him I say hi if he does.
You have to ask him to do a feature on your next album. Yeah, write that down. I specifically request that. That's my third request for the album number 2. Amazing.
I'd love that too. That's my request.
He's a producer too. You could get him to produce your album.
I would love to.
Yeah.
If he's listening, I'm down.
Nice. Anyway, thank you for putting up with my bullshit. And
thank you for having me.
Sitting down. Hope Adelaide doesn't treat you too badly. And
Adelaide's my favourite place on earth. I don't think it can do wrong.
The water could be a bit better. So I've heard.
Yeah, but, the water's a bit shit. Other than that,
we'll send you some contaminated Melbourne water when you get a chance.
That'd be great.
I'll put it in a box and I'll mail it express post. Airmail. No, easy. Thanks again, Stellie, for being awesome, and keep making awesome music. I'm keen to hear and see what happens next.
Amazing. Thanks for having me.
Let's play it now, guys. We're going to go on to the new single "Colours" off Stellie's EP. Stellie, please tell everyone what they are listening to.
Oh, my name's Stellie, and you're listening to Colours.
And the show. Don't forget the show.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
No, that's fine.
Bar Talk.
AustralianMusiciansRadio.com